What's up? What's happening?
There it is. That's the drop. That's the drop we're all looking for. Ooh. Ooh, we're on and popping right now.
Pop, pop, pop.
Popping. On and
pop, pop.
popping with this all-new episode of DMT Reviews. Of course, with me, Sam Butler. And the man, the myth, the legend with the zebra shirts, Jack Anderson.
What's up, dude?
Toning.
I'm always
I
toning.
never read that bottom word. Why does it say toning?
So, you know, in the fitness community, you know, and you're basically trying to just make yourself look good, right? You're trying to get the six packs. You're trying to get the veins,
now
right?
I'm seeing it. It says, bodybuilding and powerlifting with lines crossed through.
Not doing any of that, okay? Just trying to look sexy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just
Like a
toning.
zebra.
Like a blue zebra
Like a blue that's
with
literally,
sunglasses.
I'll tell you what, Sam. Since I was 7, I've been telling people the metaphor of my life is a blue zebra, right? Trying to just tone. Now I have a shirt
To prove it?
to prove it.
You
To
have
live
your
it.
own shirt to talk about the platform. You're really, following the hill you're dying on.
That's right.
Is
That's
toning.
right. I hope people call me the blue zebra from now on.
You can't get it all, man. It's either silverback Sasquatch or blue zebra.
Both are pretty cool nicknames.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
You know, I've had silverback Sasquatch for a while. Blue zebra seems unique.
It's time for a change of pace.
That's right,
It's
that's
time
right.
for a change of pace.
And I'll call you the purple owl,
Okay,
and then we'll call Jacob Beta the orange goat.
that makes sense.
Welcome to the dance floor, boys.
Dang,
Nice.
I almost got it.
It's close.
It was close.
It's tricky because you don't. It cuts out quickly, but like it doesn't at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's
that's
interesting.
fair.
But
That's
yeah,
fair.
speaking of Jacob Beta, okay, but we saw it together.
Yeah.
It was the trio.
We saw the Suicide Squad, the definitive
The.
Suicide Squad
That's right.
in IMAX
Yeah.
with Jacob Beta, and boy, did we have a good time with it.
Yeah, it was. You know what? It was the first, other than maybe Doom Patrol, it was the first DC thing that I can say was purely, and maybe Wonder Woman one, but even then, I still have some grievances a little bit with
There's
that
plenty.
movie. Yeah,
There's plenty of gripes to have with Wonder Woman 1.
right. But otherwise, I mean, this and Doom Patrol for sure were the first two DC things that I think I can through and through. I don't really have much bad to say about them. You know. Yeah, it's hard. I can't really poke many holes. You know?
No. And neither can I. I mean, I've watched it twice now. I watched it on HBO over the past couple of days. And, yeah, you know what? James Gunn is just, I would call him a tight filmmaker. He is, he's efficient, and he knows exactly what he wants out of his movies.
That's right.
And DC did the right thing by snatching him up from Disney after they fired him for some bullshit tweets.
That's right. And then Disney was like, "Oh shit,
Oh,
let's go
no.
get him back."
He's definitely going to turn the DC around.
I mean, it's the closest I've seen it coming to being
Yeah.
turned around. Yeah.
And did you notice that Pom Clementif was in this movie?
No.
Yeah,
Was
she was a dancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was the dancer in that club scene.
Huh.
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep,
What do you
it
know?
was Pom Clementif, and it didn't look like her because she had her regular eyes. It weren't the black
mantis.
lenses like the mantis, you know. So I noticed that the second time around. I'm like, hey,
What do you know?
there she is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, and I was watching it last night, and it still bummed me out. So I mean, of course, this is the DMT Reviews is the most spoiler filled
Oh yeah.
of all the review podcasts.
We care
But,
little to none about your need for us to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, I will say that the advertising for this movie was pretty genius because most of the advertisement showed the A Team.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and the A Team dies within the first 10 minutes of the movie. You know, it was a real fucking bummer that that Boomerang was one of those.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That one sucked because, like
Yeah.
you said when we saw it, James Gunn writing the dialogue for Jai Courtney was like the best thing.
That's right.
You know, like it took that character to another level, and then he fucking killed him in the opening scene.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, let's start with Suicide Squad, right? Which I
okay.
watched half of before falling asleep. I'll be
Yeah.
fully honest.
I watched that movie, then Birds of Prey, and then The Suicide Squad again.
Right.
I did a triple a Harley Quinn triple feature basically.
3 very different films to dig into, and 3 just kind of things to talk about overall. So, like, with Suicide Squad, right? Watching it, actually, I will say, having seen The Suicide Squad, I liked the first one more. You know?
It retroactively made it better. It was like the Snyder Cut.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
You watch it and you're like, okay, like I guess this is the first one. It's an experiment. Yada yada. I know what went into that film though.
I will say about the first Suicide Squad that I want to know how much of the budget went towards just the music. They were dropping needles like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just song after song after song after song. Hit songs too. Right in the first half of the movie, and then the rest of the movie, nothing.
Yeah.
Once they get to Midway City, there's nothing.
When they get to when Ike Barinholtz feeds Killer Croc, they play Fortunate Son, right?
Yeah.
They replay the bow 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 over and over.
Yeah, they don't actually
part.
get into the singing.
And it's like, because it's for like 2 or 3 Ike Barinholtz jokes about Killer Croc that just like don't need to be in there, and like the repeating of it ruins one of the greatest songs of all time. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, they're still just taking the same 3 seconds of the song on endless repeat. And for our own projects and stuff like that, I've been like, okay, can you like kind of cut parts of songs out? You can. Don't do that, though. That was horrible. I hated that. But really what that movie comes down to, for example, right? When they assemble the team, there's not even really, there's no threat.
No.
They are not up against anything when Amanda Waller comes up with this.
She just wanted the permission to have Task Force X.
And then the catalyst of the movie is one of the team. The like main reason the team happened goes rogue.
Yes.
And has the most boring, the most uninspired, lame, horrible villain arc I've ever seen. Carla Delevingne, you're great. You know, if you had the opportunity to really play that character, I'm sure it would be great. But literally her thing is, she shows up, she gets her brother, and what does she say? She's like, they used to worship us, but now they've betrayed us, and we have to kill them all.
Yeah, the humans have betrayed us. And it's
That
because when she just decides to pick some random dude in a subway bathroom, she just goes, brother, and he goes, where am I? Where are we? And she goes, same place, just much later. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah. It's such a sloppy movie. It's just, I mean, and we know that the director hates it, the studio. I mean, again, it's disgusting.
Oh yeah, because what I heard from what David Ayer said about it was like, Warner Brothers decided to pivot what the movie was and just make it Harley Quinn and Deadshot as the main characters, basically, and that's what they did. And I'm like, Rick Flag and Boomerang are just about as good of characters, in my opinion, and they got sidelined almost.
I mean, Diablo was interesting.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then you've got these Slipknot, Katana, like these, or whatever her name is. I mean, these just like random
it was Katana,
interferences, really, with the story that mean nothing. Katana meant nothing to that movie.
Yeah, and like...
Slipknot, nothing.
Joel Kinnaman delivers all of her background. She doesn't speak a lick of English the whole fucking movie. I mean, it's Karen Fukuhara, which I mean, I love her.
It's great character.
But,
if all these characters
all the
were
character
in the
development,
Suicide Squad, I'm sure they would have been great.
Oh, for sure.
It's not a matter of the characters were a bad pick. Horrible execution. I mean, just so pointless. And like the movie, the first half of the movie is just exposition of backstories of characters that either we already know or we don't really care about, right?
Just dropping needles left and right.
And it's so much like going into the past. And again, like we talked about, like I learned a lot about like flashbacks and stuff like that through the Suicide Squad, but now watching Suicide Squad even more, because literally the first half of the movie is origin stories that are very poorly executed, like Deadpool, Deadshot. I mean, like these incredibly basic, bland arcs that have no stakes to them and inform nothing about what the characters will do moving forward. The Joker's arc is a waste of time. It literally exists so that they could market the Joker. And again,
that was the biggest selling point of the movie was Joker, and people wanting to see what Jared Leto was going to do.
Harley Quinn's movie.
Yes,
and you get the Joker as the bad guy. You get to explore Harley Quinn and get in deep with that. Make a good, even if you're doing the exact same origin story from the comics, great. We want to see that executed with a unique vision on the cinematic screen.
The lens flashing into a like a filter, like a weird sort of like distorted like green and purple filter. Like it was super weird, super disorienting.
That movie feels like a checklist. It literally feels like, okay, we need to do this for them, we need to do this for them, we need to do this. Well, how are we going to do it though in a way that makes sense? We're not going to. That's too much work.
Yeah, I would wager to think that the WB executives did exactly that.
Yeah.
They just hit a checklist like, this is the formula for a good movie.
This is what the focus groups are saying.
Yep.
Okay,
this is the formula.
And I mean, again, just nothing means anything to anything at all in that movie. The Enchantress being the bad guy means nothing to the other characters. All these just different
it only
things.
means something to Rick Flag, and in the Suicide Squad, they completely eliminated that romance story.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah,
and again, it was just like it's so easy to do that romance in there. It's so lazy.
And okay, here's the thing about Joel Kinnaman is he's one of the only guys I've ever seen who looks worse with facial hair.
That's true.
He looked way better in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He even looked better in this show on Apple TV that I just started called For All Mankind. It's about if the Soviets landed on the moon before America did.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm only like an episode or two in. But yeah, no. That movie was so clumsy, and also it got to the point when they're in Midway City where all of a sudden Amanda Waller's office is in the city. Like they go and talk to her in person and everything.
Right.
And then she gets captured by the Enchantress.
I think you got scooted out of frame a little
God
bit.
Damn it.
But it's okay. This is live and happening. This is the Winston effect.
It's why I moved the table so Winston wouldn't do that.
And he has just done it. But hey, you know what not the Suicide Squad. You know what Suicide Squad reminded me of? Matthew Barry, the motherfucker that got duct taped on the Frontier flight. That's what that whole movie reminds me of, is that stupid fucking kid.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually wasn't it Maxwell?
Oh, it might have been, yeah.
It was something annoying where it's
Matthew Barry is a football analyst, fantasy football analyst.
Yeah.
Maxwell Barry. Yes, it reminded me of Maxwell Barry.
Yeah.
And I hate him, and I hate the movie.
Matt Barry from What We Do in the Shadows.
Of course. Yes. Classic.
But that movie, I didn't dislike it so much this time around. It was okay. It's okay at best,
and in comparison,
and at its worst, it's terrible. It's god awful.
And in comparison to the Suicide Squad, I mean, it's just like so obvious why it stinks now. Like it's so clear why that movie doesn't work on almost every level. And I think even hardcore DC fans would agree with us here.
Oh, 100%.
Who likes Suicide Squad, the first one?
Yeah,
have you ever met someone that liked it?
Yeah, Jack, I have,
right.
actually. I met a guy who was so fucking enthralled with Jared Leto's performance of the Joker. Like, literally said that was some of the best acting in anything he's ever seen. And he went ahead, because he was fucking bonkers, and got the star, the J, and damage tattooed all over his face. And I mean, that guy might be dead right now.
You know, I don't want to pile on because it's a common conversation.
Give me a break.
Jared Leto's Joker it's just not good. It's so like over the top. It's just, you see it. It's a guy going like,
what do we have here? I'm not gonna hurt you.
Sorry, I love Jared Leto.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad.
And again, maybe this is the fault of the storytelling and the the dialogue and the execution, yada yada. But like, Yeah, again, just like it's like Space Jam. It's the most obvious money grab, advertisement, nonsensical buffoonery. They literally, it was DC going like, oh God, what do we have? Everybody loves our villains. Everybody loves them. And let's make our villains into Guardians of the Galaxy. And which they did. They ended up doing that.
Let me throw this at you. I will never ever trust anybody who really loves Joker or Harley Quinn, because that means they identify with that character, which means they're fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, I've met some Harley Quinn fanatics.
Yeah, same. And the shoe drops and they go fucking nanners.
I mean, shout
full
out
nanners
to a good friend, Lauren Brandt, who is an expert at Harley Quinn.
She does
cosplay.
a great Harley Quinn, I will say.
She's the one I trust with it, though, because she might be Harley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you
want to meet Harley, not Harley's followers. You know what I mean? And Lauren Brandt,
it's like a Joe Rogan fan.
Exactly. It's exactly like a Joe Rogan fan. Harley Quinn is great. Joe Rogan is great. The people that are fanatical about it, get them away.
Get out of here. Get out of here, Kevin Love.
But
and the same goes for Joker, too, where it's just like, what? Dude, I remembered this. So it was like 2009. It was shortly after Dark Knight came out. And at Kohl's, they were selling this T-shirt. It was all a green T-shirt, had the Joker on it, and it was like $1 bill. He was like the face on it.
Heath Ledger Joker?
Yes, yes. And I got it, and my sister was complaining all the way home, like, there's the weirdest kid in my class has that same shirt. I don't want you to be a fan of the Joker. Like, she made it clear that she doesn't want me to be a fan of the Joker. And then that shirt disappeared. I'm pretty sure she took it and threw it away. Which, I mean, for good reason. Because, I mean, I was a misguided kid.
Sure.
I was like 12.
Yeah.
But now, looking back, I'm like, that was probably the best thing she could have done for me. Because if I ended up being a Joker fan, ugh, Jesus Christ.
We wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Put a bullet into my head with a gun.
Oh, dear. No, and then, of course, Birds of Prey. Really, for me, the one thing that really needs to be said about that movie should have just been Harley Quinn.
Yep.
The Birds of Prey ruined it. I mean, they take so much from Harley, and they're fine.
Well, not even that. She takes so much from them, I would say, because it's driven by her. It's about her. Literally, she's doing voiceover the whole fucking movie. And that movie does flashback jumps, too, just like Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad. Seems like the theme of that entire trilogy is doing fucking non-linear storytelling.
Yeah. Well, when you're packing so many characters into an ensemble, and you really only know what to do with 3 of them.
Not even any of them.
Yeah.
You only know how to do anything with, and I will say it's because Margot Robbie has the character down so fucking well that she just was carrying it. Like, the director didn't have to worry about that. When it came to the actual Birds of Prey themselves, the characters who they are in the comics have so much more weight and so much more going for them. Like Huntress, she's like part of the Bat family. She literally saves Batman's life in an alleyway at the beginning of Hush. Black Canary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's a superhero, right?
Yeah. And her character ends up marrying Green Arrow.
Yes.
And she, her in the CW shows.
And I love the actress that played her. What's her
Journey
name?
Smollett.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, from good old Lovecraft Country.
That's right.
And I loved those gold pants that she's wearing in that movie. Goddamn.
Wonderful.
Goddamn.
Again, that movie, even if it was like Black Canary and Harley Quinn team up, right? And you just keep it condensed. Because that's the thing. Once you throw in this roster of 4 to 6 to 10 to 15, it gets to be too much.
Yeah.
And
and the only person I've ever seen handle it well enough was James Gunn.
Exactly. And that's what he does with this. But what I think the secret sauce, if you will, to it is that he understands that we got to make people only care about so many of these characters. Like, that's why I think Boomerang dies at the beginning, is because there's really 5 to 6 characters in the Suicide Squad that are beautifully developed and worked out, and you get to meet them and they go through things together and with themselves.
Yeah.
Versus Suicide Squad, I mean, they're just all jammed together, and then they have lines with each other, and then they go back.
Yeah, because like all Boomerang's development was that he was a dirty thief. He killed the guy who he was working with when he was robbing that diamond store. And then Flash shows up and busts him, and that's it. And then Rick Flag, all of his character development got pretty much like retconned because his only character development was that he was in love with Enchantress.
Which again,
So like,
I would say, and to the point of Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey, okay. The Suicide Squad, good.
I will say
right?
I enjoyed both of those movies a lot more this time around. Yeah.
And that's,
I did like the choice that they made with Ewan McGregor and Chris Messina, who was Zaz, being like understated gay lovers.
Yeah.
Which was like kind of interesting to just think about that. These fucking twisted guys who cut people's faces off, butt fuck,
doesn't surprise me at all.
They're just sucking each other off after slicing some faces off.
I mean, again, give the Birds of Prey more of an opportunity in their own films and
let
stuff.
Black Mask wear the fucking black mask more than one scene.
And develop that and develop... Again, like I told you after the movie, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, always and forever, is electric.
Yes.
Okay, she is phenomenal all the time.
Owns the role.
The
only better
Why
Harley
don't they
Quinn,
give her a movie?
I know.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we did with Birds of Prey. You didn't really, though.
I think it was just a fucking horrible title decision. Being Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Just call it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. They ended up having to do that in several theaters, calling it Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Because people weren't coming to see Birds of Prey. They just saw the poster for Harley Quinn. They're like, oh, well, I want to see the Harley Quinn movie. And they're like, you mean Birds of Prey? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, they really, 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 really fucked that one up as far as titling it.
Well, and then...
Because like, Renee Montoya, the cop played by Rosie Perez, she is a character like Harley Quinn out of the animated series. That's where they were first created by Paul Dini. And in that show, she's kind of like Maria Hill to Gordon, And, she does a great job. And this one is just like, let's make her a drunk lesbian.
Yeah.
And also cast Ali Wong as her ex for her 2 scenes. Like, why? Why'd you do that? Why'd you have to do that?
Yeah. And again, like what the Suicide Squad does with like character development is, again, we learn about it through the plot in a way that's not like overbearing, but like Polka Dot Man is maybe the best example of it. The whole thing with his mom and stuff like that. Like,
I will say that same with Ratcatcher 2, the moment that he chose to fill in their backstories was a little clunky to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Where it was just kind of like, in the middle of the action, full stop, let me hear your story. That's kind of how it felt. Like they were in the, actually no, Ratcatcher 2 was a little bit less clumsy, but Polka Dot Man, it was just like, they're marching onward to go to that camp where Rick Flag is. And then, all of a sudden John Cena's like, fucking tell me everything,
Sure. Yeah, and then I agree with that. It's just so much better than the other two.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little clunky, at least it's legitimate in the story. Like, and Peacemaker being a weird guy. And like, for example, what I was thinking of was him explaining like about his mom and like what the polka dot, like going through the forest. He's got this problem. Yeah. Stop. Let's address this. What the fuck is going on? He can tell us in a much more organic way versus like this random, bizarre, not even like random, and this stupid, like introducing Harley Quinn and all this stuff and how it's cutting in and out. It's just this exposition dump of like, it's Joker's girlfriend. I just like, it's so like not worth my time that it makes me angry versus at least that I'm like, this is sewn into the fabric of the story in a way that it doesn't take me away from it. You know?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah,
but it still did feel to me watching it. I was just like, I mean, we were on a roll, and then you guys full stopped to give us the backstory on Polka Dot Man, which it took the second time for me to see what the polka dots actually did. Because I was kind of like, I thought Polka Dot Man was kind of like, have you seen the game Portal?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's a game where you have a gun that you shoot a orange portal and a blue portal, and then you can just, it's a puzzle game. It's really fun. But I thought that's what Polka Dot Man did, was he'd throw the polka dots down and he was able to climb into them and, come out and jump on you and stuff. I didn't know that they actually destroyed anything until this movie. And I was like, oh, okay. I really also feel like the studio said, James Gunn, you can do anything you want except kill Harley Quinn.
Right. Exactly. Probably.
You cannot kill Harley Quinn. Otherwise, go fucking bananas.
Go crazy. Yeah. Which means they're learning. It means that they are just hands off the wheel, stepping back, which is good. So, yeah. Enough negativity aside, right? This movie had a lot going against it, right? Coming into it, we were preloaded to watch this with a very critical eye.
Oh,
right?
yeah. We did carry a grain of salt.
Oh, big time. Ever since August of 2016, the term Suicide Squad has given me... It's raised my hackles a little bit,
Except for the episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, of course. I mean...
We're assembling a Suicide Squad?
Well, and that was the
Wunsch,
best...
the Vulture, and all these people.
That was the best execution of it I had seen up until this point. So, I mean... Great for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, coming back soon. Season 8. But...
One more ride.
And they said they're saving the best for last.
That's awesome.
But they always say that, right? How can you know? But digging into it. What I loved about this movie, Michael Rooker doing the thing, we're like, okay, he's alone, he's throwing the ball. We see his power. We see, kind of, I didn't mean to do that. We see kind of, okay, he's a marksman essentially, right? And then they go get him. Okay, you know the drill. Boom, put the thing in your neck. You do it right. We give you 10 years off.
Yeah, no, this movie hits the ground running.
Yeah, because we don't need to go through that again. Yeah,
we don't need to have the Amanda Waller explaining what it is. It was like, no, you're picked. You're up. Let's go.
Did a great job because I know for sure now it's a sequel, right? And it did a great job of being like, this is a sequel to the first one, and we're changing this entirely, right? We have the ground rules that the comics had and the first one had. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off for anybody who, for some reason, is here seeing this that didn't see the first one, and then we just go, and we're back into it. We get, the teams getting assembled. We see Captain Boomerang. We see Rick Flag. We see Harley Quinn show up, and like we were talking about, just the way Boomerang was. And I think this is, again, pointing to the flaws of Suicide Squad. Boomerang's fine in Suicide Squad, but, he's just a joke, right? He's just this
he's
Australian...
carrying around a stuffed pink unicorn, which they have no backstory for.
Means nothing.
No,
yep.
I mean... Deadpool had a better backstory for his unicorn.
Yeah.
Where it was like, that was his jerk-off mechanism.
Right. And, the thing with Boomerang is he takes this unicorn in and out so much that, it has to be a thing. Well, we never learned that, right?
Yeah, and it was like that scene where the bubble-headed fuckers, who got, taken over by Enchantress, when they start attacking for the first time, he just cracks open a beer and then shies away. And I'm like, was that in his box?
Yeah. And also,
of stuff, his equipment?
Yeah.
He had just one single beer? Because there was no bars or anything nearby, and then he just cracks it and just sneaks away.
And, this movie, I was bummed when he died because I was like, oh, I see a lot of potential in Boomerang.
Yeah. When he's like, hey, Harles.
He's still going to be funny. He's going to be cooler. Jay Courtney is going to be able to be this character now.
What kind of dog do you think that is, mate?
And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. It just automatically, it gave me, this one was so condensed. And the first one was too. It's one mission. It's this, kind of, but it was so again, no stakes in the beginning. Literally no problems are happening.
No, she's just assembling Task Force X for some reason.
And then her own plan blows up in her face. And now, again, you want to talk about consistency. Well, why the fuck are we still doing this? If the bad guy from the first Suicide Squad became the problem, why would you try and make another Suicide Squad?
The argument can really be made that Amanda Waller is the villain of both movies.
Significantly, yeah.
And Viola Davis plays her with such gut. That scene, right after Bloodsport, threatens her with the pen, and then she yells at everybody to stand down. The emotion and rage gives me chills.
Yeah,
every time.
She's great. That character is She'll get you. She'll get, like you said, she'll give you chills. She'll make you go like, oh shit, like this is bad. And she does really well with that. Unfortunately, in the first one, it's like there's not this one at least. This one was so business as usual, right? Which I think is what this Suicide Squad.
I think that's what
needs to be.
DC should do with all their movies.
Like
we
the
don't
Expendables,
need a
right? They're
fucking
going in.
goddamn motherfucking another origin story for somebody we know the origin story of. Like Spider-Man in the MCU, perfect. They barely mentioned Ben. Like, actually, probably the most that I don't think so either. I think the most reference that's been towards Ben is his suitcase in Far From Home saying BFP.
Yep. And it's perfect because we don't need it. It slows things down to such a degree that, like, it ruins the movie. It takes away any potential like growth in story because you constantly have to, be dragging this weight of, oh, we have to make them well-rounded. No. Just they're well-rounded now. Now make them even more well-rounded. Put them in the sandbox and play a little bit,
And I mean, like the introductions, even the backstory, they did in exposition dumps, but they did it in a great way. Like, Bloodsport's out in the prison cleaning all the shit up, which made me laugh too watching it again, was when he pulled out Savant's long ass hair from the drain. Like, if I had hair like that and that much fell out in one shower, I would be alarmed.
I mean, there's a lot of alarming things about Savant.
But she. You got Steve Agee, which I mean, I'm so happy that
because he did the mocap for King Shark.
Yeah,
too,
yeah. And I thought he was just gonna do the voice. Like Sylvester Stallone being announced was rather late in the advertisement campaign, so I thought it was gonna be Steve Agee, and I'm like, that's great, awesome, I love him. Outside Dave.
Yeah, I love how they like. Well, not that James Gunn specifically gives the mocap actors some glory.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, like Sean Gunn playing Calendar Man, that was great. Hey, Polka Dot Man, can you come to my kid's birthday? You fucking pussy. And then right there is Weasel.
right, exactly, fucking Weasel. Yeah, so like the first team is the
A team, it's Harley, Boomerang, Flag from the original movie, Savant, Weasel, Blackguard, TDK, Javelin, and Mongal. Yeah, and wasn't there one other chick? No, I think that was it.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets everybody. They just all fucking are on the plane. Harley's like, I love Boomerang. Like, Harley, what are you doing back in prison? He goes, I had a little bit of road rage inside of a bank.
And I love too, like how they're kind of like going in and out of prison. And it just like that explains the characters enough to me that I can totally get on board and we can move forward with whatever information you want to provide.
100%. And they can go ahead and just have this rotating roster.
Because you know what would have happened in Suicide Squad if this had happened? How'd you get back into jail? Cut to 20-minute sequence of her going to rob a bank, 30 seconds of her maybe doing it and getting arrested, and then another scene of her, talking or crying about the Joker or something like that. That's what it would have been in Suicide Squad.
Yep. And the thing about the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey was that the filmmakers made both of them through the eye of Zack Snyder. They didn't have to do that at all. And so giving it to James Gunn breathed fresh new air. I mean, it felt tonally and visually dynamic and different from all the DCEU movies. Like when they go to Amusement Mile for the climax of Birds of Prey, like literally the entire backdrop of it is just dark, gray, cloudy fucking sky that you can clearly tell is green screen. It was like Stryker's Island where they fought Doomsday at the end of Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, right.
Where it was just like, you can tell this is a fucking green screen set. Like there's nothing going on in the background except for dark gray clouds.
Yeah.
Like it's so fucking weird looking.
Like it looks like an animated movie, but you make a live action movie to break the restraints of an animated movie, right?
Yeah.
So
make it seem reality.
So if you're going back and you're just basically like, glazing it with CGI all over the place, it's not gonna look authentic.
Becoming a cartoon at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're taking us away from the reality. Yeah.
Yeah. And James Gunn did something where it was like everything was properly cartoonish.
Yes.
You know, like having King Shark look like a fucking rubber toy, basically. Like that was
but
fucking
when he
hilarious.
gets close, I mean, he looks like a shark. You know, you can see the skin, his eyes very sharkish. Like he looks great, but exactly like you're saying, he's not the King Shark from The Flash. You know what I mean? Who's like this ripped up beast no, I mean, it's like honestly like a fun version of the character.
Yeah,
kind of like the Ron Funches
It's
version.
it's dumber Ron Funches, you know. And I would there's really 4 iterations of King Shark that I've ever seen. Ron Funches is the best. This one's probably second best, and then the third best I gotta say is the one from Apocalypse War, which is the final movie in the DC animated movie universe, the DCAMU. So. And it's funny because, well, one, him and Constantine fucked. Like, they clearly allude to Constantine having sex with King Shark.
With King Shark.
Yeah. And then he's kind of Grootish in it, where he just keeps saying, King Shark is a shark! So it was really fun, and he was a badass in that movie. And then I gotta say, the Flash one was good because it was the first time you see it in live action and actually looks really good. But like you said, he's really cut up and he's like, you know, just a monster at that point. There's no character development. He gets stuck at Argus, you know.
Right.
Which I didn't notice was referenced in the first Suicide Squad. Viola Davis wants to, you know, take people from the Argus program. And Argus is like this, you know, it's kind of like the Raft basically for DC.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's featured more prominently in Arrow than anything else. But no, so like, yeah, A-Team is all these guys, right? And then they land on this beach, and right away Pete Davidson hops up.
Well, first off, Weasel jumps out of the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
Smashes into the water and then drowns.
Immediately.
Flags. Anybody check and see if Weasel could fucking swim? And then you just got Viola Davis slowly turning to look at Steve Agee, and he's like, fucking whoop. What?
Fucking whoops.
And like that really set the tone that this was not going to go well. And that opening sequence was so great because it showed how clumsily and bad that the Suicide Squad program could be. If the homework isn't done and there's no cohesion in the team, everybody's fucked.
It's a disaster.
Everybody's fucked.
As you alluded to, Blackguard goes up and is like, "Oh, I brought them guys.
Hey, we had a deal. I'm the one who called. Yeah, we're cool, right?" And then immediately his face gets blown off, and you're just like. Jake said it best. He goes, "I'm pretty glad that they got rid of Pete Davidson right away because that would have been a long 2 hours."
The only way it wouldn't have is if Bill Burr had showed up with a giant mustache.
Yeah.
That's the only way that would have been bearable.
I mean, I love King of Staten Island, but yeah, it was Pete Davidson playing a serious role more than anything else.
That's right. That's right.
And so,
you got to be careful with old PD.
Yeah. Immediately gets his face blown off. He sells them out. They're made, and then like all of the Corto Maltese soldiers are attacking the South Beach. So then the B team can go to the top one or the North Beach. And what I liked about that was I kind of have a feeling that Amanda Waller picked Blackguard so that would happen.
Ah, interesting.
Just to draw all the troops down so that the B team could take it over. She's like,
makes sense.
you know what? I'm done with Flag and Boomerang and Harley. Like, I just want to get them out of here.
Yeah, I've used them.
You know, this is my throwaway Suicide Squad. You know, and so yeah, shit goes off. I really loved that Javelin was useless, and then TDK,
like, with the arms, Nathan
like,
Fillion.
God, I love that. It was like release the what is it? The detachable kid. It was like, what? TDK stands for the detachable kid? What the fuck? And then he pops his arms off like an action figure, like he's got the nubs in the arms, like he's an action figure, and then they just start
Yep, going all slowly, and then just like
slapping, like touching the face, just sort of slapping these people, just like smacking them on the helmets and stuff.
I just love how the title sequence of the movie, right? You know, everything kind of happens, and then we bust out into the music. You know, the Star-Lord dancing, the baby Groot running around with the classic James Gunn title sequence, and it's just all the dead suicides.
Yeah.
It's Weasel drowned. It's Blackguard's face blown off.
Well, yeah, the Warner Brothers Pictures Presents was with the blood and brains of Savant after Waller blew his head up for running away.
Yep, he ditches, he runs, and then Nathan Fillion is like dying.
Oh my god! Ah! Yeah, they're shooting his arms. His arms are just floating in the air, and they're shooting his arms, and he's on the ground on the beach, just like Javelin gets shot up immediately.
Yeah. Who's Javelin? Javelin.
Flula Borg.
Yeah,
he's a German DJ and actor. So he's been on several stuff. Really, what I know him from is his interviews on Conan. He's very, very good on Conan.
Nice.
Yeah, he plays pretty well with the COB.
Nice. I would say that's a good game.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien here.
Conan O'Brien needs a friend.
I loved when Mongola jumps onto the helicopter, and you're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it's gonna happen, and then it just blows up and kills almost everybody that's left.
Yeah, no, like, and when she jumps on, they're like, no, and then she grabs onto it and immediately is like, oh, I'm in over my head, and starts screaming bloody murder.
I'm in over my head.
And crashes it. I mean, like, it does cut up quite a few people.
Oh yeah.
But then, like, it blows up a tree, all the splinters hit Boomerang. That was pretty rough scene, watching Rick Flag and Harley be like, one of us!
Yeah.
You know, because they had that sort of rapport with each other.
They're
where
the
it was
original
like,
team.
yeah, they're buddies at that point. You know, and I liked that, and then they killed fucking Boomerang. But he even died with a smile. Like a big old fuck you to the world.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just felt
like,
bad for Jai Courtney,
I
where he's
know.
like, James Gunn's like, oh yeah, you're in the movie for sure. Oh, great, let's read this. What?
I mean, the first 5 pages.
But, you know, again, he made the most of it. That was the most I've liked. I mean, he was honestly one of my top 3 or 4 in the first one. And I was like, oh shit, like this version of him so much better. Anyway, B team shows up. We've got Bloodsport. We've got Peacemaker. We've got Ratcatcher 2. And we got King Shark. And we got Polka Dot Man.
Yep.
That's our B team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then it cuts back to 3 days earlier, and you know, we see Bloodsport doing all the janitorial stuff, and then
stuff goes in.
Yeah, like I
talks to
loved
the
it.
daughter.
I loved the exposition of it, where it was like Steve Agee just being like, "Who the fuck is Bloodsport?" And then she just lays it out. It's like, he was trained by his father to be a killer from birth, and all this stuff. And then,
well, and that's what I like too. Like that moment alone, all Amanda Waller ever needed to do was just like give the rundown. Give the quick, brief run. Okay, these are the skills. This is a little bit of backstory. This is how they became who they were.
Yep.
Boom. Done.
Bam. Done. And we can get the movie going.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she, you know, says you have a visitor. He goes and talks to his daughter. That scene was so great. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
No going back in time or dead shots like, oh, your mom stinks. Come live with me. Oh, Batman. Oh, you kill people. Batman. Oh, just so like cliche and cheesy. And like the whole seeing your parent in jail thing. Yeah, it's been done. But excellent twist where the fuck you. Like, okay, everything I needed to know about Bloodsport and his motivation.
Yeah.
Right there.
Where he's like, next time you got to bring a friend with you so they can be a lookout. And she's like, really? That's all you have to say right now? Yeah, that's what I do.
Also, and my dad did not want to agree with me. Now, he hasn't seen the movie, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. But he's like, yo, how could you not get Will Smith? He is the movie. I'm like, Idris Elba is so much better. Bloodsport's so much better than Deadshot.
And, I mean, before Will Smith was just confirmed to not be in it, they were going to recast him with Idris Elba.
Yeah.
You know, and then they were like, you know what? Let's keep him around. Let's not make him Deadshot. We'll make him Bloodsport, but he basically has the same situation with a daughter.
Bloodsport's fucking helmet, dude, was awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude. I loved it. It looked like a fucking xenomorph. With the jaw and everything. It looked like a xenomorph, and it was so fucking cool. I fucking loved it.
This movie was cool.
You know what's funny, though, is that DC, like, they start comic series based on the movies that are about to come out. So, like, this Suicide Squad, that's in the comic run right now. It's led by Peacemaker, but then it also has Bloodsport with that costume.
Nice.
You know, like James Gunn designed it for this movie. Bloodsport otherwise had like an orange bandana with eyes cut out like a fucking Ninja Turtle. You know, he looked like Raph from the new Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah,
you know,
nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it. I will say that those two new Ninja Turtle movies are a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoy them.
They're great. And that's the thing is, again, make the movie on the based on the tone, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, fun, crazy, wild, right?
And that was probably my favorite thing was the complaints coming out after that Ninja Turtle, the first one came out, was people were pissed because they were like expecting it to be like the Dark Knight of Ninja Turtles movies.
Right.
And I'm like, guys, the title is
that's
Teenage
not possible.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. And you want it to be serious? I know the original comic books was a little bit more serious and dark, but like it's the goofiest fucking concept, and they leaned right into it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that movie worked.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Michael Bay didn't direct it, but
Right.
I think it worked because they leaned into the fucking wackiness of the concept of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
You know? And that's what I think James Gunn did with this. The first Suicide Squad tried to take itself too seriously.
It literally tried to be like this like dark, gritty DC movie mixed with Guardians of the Galaxy, which tonally can only be done by James Gunn. Bloodsport's helmet, I think, symbolizes the tone of the movie perfectly in the sense that it's badass, it's cool, it's kind of like, who cares? Like, again, it's kind of like Star-Lord or T'Challa, right? It just kind of fades away.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? That's awesome. That's great. Live in the reality of the movie and have fun in the sandbox that you've created. This is going to be funny. This is going to be violent. This is going to be like, crass. But it's going to be badass. It's going to be cool. Going from the bandana to the helmet, like that's that movie to me. The bandana is Suicide Squad, and the mask is the Suicide Squad.
Yes, exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more. And like he gave it stakes from the start, where it was like, okay,
it's simple, like Expendables level stakes, but that's all you need, right? People have taken over the island.
It was like Expendables.
It reminded me so much of the first Expendables. It was crazy.
It is like Expendables. That's awesome. I didn't think about that.
And then this just beautiful, tiny little superhero twist, which is there's a kaiju, which is kind of the big bad, superhero level threat, Avengers level threat. Yeah. But it's starfish, you know what I mean? It's silly, it's fun, it's dumb.
And that's the great thing, too, was like, this was the movie to put Starro in because it was such a wacky concept. And I mean, I know James Gunn is in love with Starro and bringing it to life was like a passion project for him. But the thing is about Starro was that he was the first thing that assembled the Justice League in the comics. They assembled the Justice League to fight Starro the Conqueror. So... thinking about that, and then you think about the Justice League that we got, Zack Snyder just cut to the chase and was like, Darkseid. Darkseid is on the table. That's why the Justice League is assembling.
Thanos is our first bad guy. Let's do this.
Basically, or like, Ebony Maw was the first villain, basically,
which I would have been driven crazy by that Avengers movie. Oh. That guy is irritating.
Your powers are inconsequential to mine.
You must be popular with the children. Shut the fuck up.
I'll remove it from your corpse.
He's actually, for what he is, he's great. But
he's the most developed of all Thanos' children, besides Nebula and Gamora, but they had 2 movies to get developed.
He could take out Thanos. Like the way he was just making mincemeat. Anyway, this is not about Ebony Maw. This is about the Suicide Squad. Anyway, then we meet the team, right?
Yeah, we meet the team. It goes flashback, and then Bloodsport's in. And then she even introduces him to Peacemaker, but gives basically the exact same.
She goes, everybody's chosen for their own unique skill set.
Yeah. This is Peacemaker. What is it? Christopher Smith. His father raised him to be a killer from when he was born. And then she introduces himself as like, are you having a laugh? He does everything I fucking do.
Sorry, they all do. I love how much.
But better.
I love how much Bloodsport said fucking. He said fucking so many times in that movie.
I know.
Then who's next? Then Ratcatcher 2, right?
Yep.
Who's very nice.
She
very
likes
sleepy.
to sleep.
She loves sleeping. Yes. She's Sebastian.
Sebastian, say hi, Sebastian.
I loved her. I thought she was phenomenal.
I looked at the cast list, and I have no idea why they cast anybody, but they cast D. Bradley Baker, to be Sebastian. I'm like, what did he do? Come in and squeak?
Yeah, right? Do the mocap.
I mean, he's Klaus the fish, and then
he's crawling on the ground like a rat in
like,
a mocap
what?
suit.
What?
Like, I think animation can handle this.
Say
one,
hi,
guys.
Sebastian. I that actress, Daniela something French.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, she was amazing.
She was probably the breakout performance of the movie.
I thought so,
I
too.
will say.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Dasmalchian, I think that's how you say it, or Dasmalchian, whatever. Yeah, Polka Dot Man. He did a good job, but also this dude has been all over, and he does the best in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Like, he was that crazy guy that
Bubba Yaga.
Yeah.
Bubba Yaga.
Ooh, Bubba Yaga. Bubba Yaga. He was that crazy guy from The Dark Knight that Harvey Dent threatens with the coin flip.
I remember.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been all over all these movies. He's flip flopped franchises.
He has,
He's DC, Marvel, DC,
and his role has only expanded as he's flipped and flopped. Daniela, Daniela Melchior, Melchior. So French.
Melchior, or something
Daniela
like that. But she was great.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Very
sleepy.
Like we said, it was very odd that they cast Taika Waititi as the first Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
Like, why?
And these and like again, Taika Waititi. Now he has two scenes. One of them is in the reflection of a bus window, and he's wearing a mask in two of the three shots he's in.
Yeah, like it took it to that point where he was shooting up heroin that we were like, is that fucking Taika Waititi, dude?
Taika did?
What?
The other one is where he's on top of the roof and the big, kind of the full circle of Ratcatcher 2.
When she's sending all the rats at Starro.
Which is a very nice
that
scene.
music, that score during that scene was awesome.
Yeah.
That's like an anthem. I love that song.
Big time.
Because it starts off as rock and then they throw in the choir that It's fucking awesome.
It's great. And I like to, they picked villains that were complicated, so like, for example, Polka Dot Man. I know James Gunn specifically was like, I picked Polka Dot Man because I looked up the stupidest, most unknown characters.
Yeah, didn't he actually say that?
Yeah, he said, I picked Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man because I wanted the most obscure character. Really, the only two Suicide Squad members that are in it, well, three, Rick Flag, King Shark, and Harley Quinn, I know are all from the comics in the Suicide Squad. But otherwise, it was just all these kind of,
Yeah, the only way he could have gotten stupider with a villain is if he chose like Condiment King.
Exactly. Which, again, now we're really pushing.
We're really pushing.
Because you could do, clearly you could do some stuff with the polka dots. I don't know what you're going to do with the condiments. Especially an old man in a diaper that has these two. We know about it.
All right. Here, becoming the Polka Dot Man. This is Wikipedia. Shortly after Batman began appearing in Gotham City, his growing renown inspired an entire generation of costumed rogues who committed largely harmless crimes to attract his attention in the hopes of matching wits with the legendary vigilante. Among these was a local crook named Abner Krill, who decided for reasons unknown to launch a crime wave based on spots and dots in Gotham City, where he inevitably came into conflict with Batman and Robin. As Mr. Polka Dot, he wore a costume covered in spots, which being different sizes and colors were not actual polka dots, because polka dots is all the same size,
That's fair.
Once removed from the costume, the spots could be used for a variety of purposes, such as creating deadly weapons and a bizarre escape vehicle. He succeeded in capturing Robin, but Batman defeated him.
They upped the ante on this one.
Later, Mr. Polka Dot, having resumed his original alias, reappeared with a new look, joining a group of villains working for General Immortus. Immortus, with the help of Professor Milo, upgraded the villain's powers and gadgets. As a follower of General Immortus, Mr. Polka Dot had presumably been operated upon by Professor Milo to internalize his technology. The group was undone when they were betrayed by the Human Flame, What? Okay. Most were killed in a brutal battle, including Mr. Polka Dot. His head was crushed after a manhole cover landed on it.
You know,
Not dissimilar to his out.
I was going to say he went much more nobly in this. But yeah, no, I thought he was really good. Seeing Polka Dot Man was in this, I immediately was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
But then I had to be like, I gotta trust James Gunn.
I was behind it from that trailer where it shows them all in the theater, and which I mean that's the next scene really is after they assembled that squad, and I also liked that the expedition of King Shark's backstory is like Nanawe is believed to be the offspring of a god shark, a shark god. And that's literally his backstory in the comics. And that was all you needed.
That's all you needed. And then
so smart, me.
Well, and here's another thing that I think this movie did really well versus a whole bunch of other, origin story type superhero movies. Let the characters be who they're going to become. Don't force them to be shackled by who they were or who they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, let King Shark be this. Yeah, he's the son of a god king. He's just a dumb shark, you know what I mean? Living life, and he wants to get nom.
That's so funny too, because if you're a fan of the Harley Quinn show, you actually know what that means.
Yeah.
And, like, he has to go home and talk to his dad, and he gets set up in an arranged marriage that he wasn't into, and then all of a sudden he's into until she's not into it. Like, that episode with Ron Funches was just so delightful.
One of the best. Always the best when it comes to the Funches. Bunches of Funches. But yeah, no. Like
my favorite scene of King Shark in that show is when it's two scenes. It's that episode where Clayface's hand gets arrested by Gordon and they become friends.
Yeah.
But they were just like walking through like, an Ocean's 11 sort of thing where they're explaining the heist. And then the second that King Shark shows up at the police station, they're like, Shark! And then they shoot him with a bunch of tranquilizers, kick his ass, throw him in a van, and then send him off to prison. And then while he's in prison, when they're breaking him out, somebody, like a new guy's coming in like, oh, fresh fish, like, new... what is it? New bait, new fish, something like that. New chum or something like that. And he goes, hey guys, I find myself a little annoyed that I have to repeat myself, but don't use that term! Or no, what did I say about using that word? Like, sorry. Thank you.
Just the best.
When Ron Funches yells in that show, I just can't help but laugh.
That show, this movie, and then versus again, because it's just so easy with Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad. The difference is what matters in those movies is this weird plot that brings these characters together and then forces them to have a bunch of action set pieces, right?
Yeah.
What makes the Harley Quinn show and the Suicide Squad work really well, in my opinion, is it's about how do the characters interact with each other. It's mainly about how does this concoction of characters, right? This is why I love Tropic Thunder. Like, Tropic Thunder does a really good job because when they're going through the jungle and stuff, that reminded me a lot of like Expendables meets Tropic Thunder, right? And what works so well about that versus like Expendables, big plot, action set pieces, yada yada. Tropic Thunder is about how do these 5 people or 4 people, I guess, in that.
I think you should eat a bag of dicks. How about that?
Yeah.
If I had to eat a bag of dicks for freedom,
For freedom?
for liberty, that's what it is. If this beach was covered in dicks and I had to eat all of them for liberty, I would.
Yeah. Like, there's this beautiful, like, if I made a web out of it, right? You could have, Ratcatcher 2 and King Shark's friendship, Peacemaker versus Bloodsport, Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2's dynamic and relationship, Polka Dot Man trying to fit in and be part of this, King Shark trying not to eat everybody.
I loved how James Gunn handled the relationship between Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2, because he does say on the bus that he reminds him of his daughter, and but they didn't play that up like he had like a sense of
like a Freudian need to protect his daughter,
be a paternal fucking figure. I mean, like, he falls through a fucking building and then sees that Peacemaker's about to kill her. And he's like, well, I also fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And at this point, like, we're all getting kind of close. We've worked together. We've overcome. We've gone through the special world together. Overcome the death. Let's push forward. And then, of course, the betrayal and yada yada. But like, why that matters is you're exactly right. You have this allusion to not what drives Bloodsport, but what is going to change Bloodsport, right? And that is where he sees Ratcatcher, he protects her. And then by the end of it, where she's like, helping him when the rats are all going over, it's just like, they're legitimately just like becoming friends. And that is so interesting. And so good.
And more than anything, they're all human.
They're all human.
They gave, like, James Gunn
even King Shark
made everybody feel like a grounded human.
Yeah.
Even though they got wacky characteristics and wacky powers or anything, they all still felt like you could understand them. You can get behind that. You can believe Bloodsport. You can believe Ratcatcher 2. You
can believe King Shark.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that scene, that first time they go camping, and then the rat wakes Bloodsport up to see, or no, he wakes up to see Polka Dot Man throwing up all the polka dots.
Which made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's getting all these, like, these rashes.
Yeah, like
he looks like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, like he's been stung by a bunch of bees with the worst allergy, And he goes and throws all of them up. Mm-hmm. What did he say? An interdimensional virus is what it was? Yeah, and so... Then right away, Sebastian starts squeaking at Bloodsport. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Then points at King Shark's right about to eat Ratcatcher too.
He's just asleep.
So asleep, and then he shoots him like a few times with he's bulletproof.
You would
so
never try to eat me. And then Sebastian's like, why would you try to eat me? You bastard. You bastard.
Just sends all the rats. He's like, I have a thing with rats.
Yeah. And again,
you have a thing with rats and you're on the same team as me?
Who cares about Captain Boomerang's stupid pink unicorn that's going to mean nothing? Let's get into Bloodsport being afraid of rats and like this very relatable thing that he's going to have to deal with. Like,
and he explains, like, that's what my father did. He locked me in a box with a bunch of hungry rats. Of course I'm going to have a fucking phobia.
A little bit more to learn, a little bit more to get you invested in him, a little bit more, but not a 30-minute flashback sequence to his dad locking him in the box. We don't need it.
With like that fucking like staticky fucking filter and shit, like showing him get locked in the box. Daddy, don't.
Yeah. Nobody ever wants or needs it.
No, it's unnecessary, and James Gunn knew this.
Yes, exactly. I just feel like James Gunn watched Suicide Squad, went to DC, and was like, I know exactly everything you did wrong.
Yeah.
But if you try and be part of this, it'll ruin it.
So like jumping ahead a little bit, when Peacemaker kills Rick Flag, that was when I was like, oh man, James Gunn buried that first movie.
Yeah.
He pretty much buried it. He did a more proper version of what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't disrespectful or anything, but I think it played better to the concept of the Suicide Squad, that everybody is expendable. That's the point of the team.
That's why it's called the Suicide Squad.
Every arc in the comic books, a lot of them die, and then they just get a new roster. You just gather some more people for the Task Force X, and then they just keep,
It adds the stakes too. Like that was something in the first one where you're just like, I mean, like no matter what these guys go up against, they seem to be fine by the end of it,
Yeah, and also the only thing with that first movie was like Rick Flag was holding everybody hostage with that cell phone or that wrist thing that had the buttons to blow everyone's heads up, and it was actually kind of hilarious when I don't know why they got Adam Beach to play Lasso or whatever the fuck. Slipknot.
He only exists to prove that they can die.
Yes, exactly. And it was actually really funny how Boomerang convinced him to do that. And just blew his head up. He's like, "Oh, they're not fucking around.
All right, this is real. Yeah.
All right, they're not fucking around."
Like what this movie did, like that movie, like played him up like part of the team. But by the time he shows up and he
had his own poster.
Yeah, and he randomly gets like pulled out of a car. You're like, this dude's gonna die. Like I know he's gonna die.
They didn't give any backstory for him.
None.
Like,
Everybody
they gave
else
backstory for El Diablo, Deadshot, Harley,
Croc.
Boomerang had his flashback sequence. Croc, yeah, exactly. Everybody had a backstory except for him. So you're just like, so he's dying first.
Yeah. And what this movie did was it just like. It advertised everybody in the same way, but it advertised everybody like that. And like you get Pete Davidson, who's a big name, playing Blackguard. Like you get these like, and it was this will be interesting. Yeah, and then they all die. It was so
smart that the tagline of the movie was "Don't get attached."
Yeah,
because that's exactly it. If you got attached to anybody, like we were attached to Rick Flag and Boomerang, and we were bummed.
Yeah,
when they lost, when they died, and then other people, you were just kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, that's a fun way to kill someone. Yeah,
that's pretty fun.
Yeah. So then they proceed to keep moving, right? And they get into they're going after Rick Flag.
That opening scene was X-Force from Deadpool 2.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what it was, where
Yeah.
it was like they were hyped up
Yeah.
to just crazy levels in the ads
Here's
for
the
it,
team.
and then they die within a minute.
Immediately. Terry Crews, Brad Pitt. Fuck.
I mean, yeah.
The guy, no, who plays, Pennywise. The guy
Yeah,
that plays
Bill
Pennywise.
Skarsgård and, damn it.
Yeah, who plays the
Shatterstar.
alien guy? Yeah.
He was... Fuck, I remember he was in a movie recently that I
Of course,
watched.
Ozzy.
And of course Ozzy. But her
Ozzy.
power was being lucky, so
right.
she managed to survive that whole thing.
But yeah, no, so they, and you know what else? So, well, actually, let's TO before they go to get Rick Flag. What I liked a lot about this movie was the way that they played with, like, the chapters, right? Like kind of that Tarantino-ish.
Yes. Yeah, because all the title sequence, like, you know, and it was very creative that he
Very
used
creative.
like elements of the scene to make that.
So,
like
and
Jotunheim
it's
was with all the
carrying
junk
in-
on the roofs.
Exactly. And like you said, it's like carrying through in the scene. It's never like it never throws you out of it. It just gets you like set to be like, okay, this
Louis Tan, he was Cole in Mortal Kombat.
right. Got it.
That's right.
But yeah, they did a really good job with transitioning that. And I think what was actually really good, and this is probably DC's one, like you said, their one stipulation, I think James Gunn did really well with this, is it was kind of like the Suicide Squad and then Harley Quinn's movie. And then, of course, they bring together. But it's not like Birds of Prey where, like, you've got Harley Quinn doing her thing for so much of it, and then these just, like, random characters that really don't come into play until the end.
Yeah, they don't come into play until the end. I mean, like, really, it's
And
her
none
and
of
Black
them are
Canary,
connected.
and then... Rosie Perez is playing catch up the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Cassandra Cain, which I remember watching or listening to a podcast review, I guess her character in the comics is way, way bigger than what they
Yeah.
just reduced her to a pickpocket when she's one of the most powerful DC characters or something like that.
With a pink cast.
Yeah. And, pooping out diamonds and shit.
Oh, dear. But again, it worked because then you've got Harley Quinn off on this own. She survives, right? Her and Rick get captured, and then she, the guys who are in charge of the islands, the president's like, bring me the one that I want.
Yeah.
Brings Harley. And then you have this really kind of, wild, crazy Harley Quinn romance. I was just like, there's no way this guy's making it through.
Or they had a Harley Quinn sex scene.
Yeah, they did.
That's like, whoa, I never expected that.
I just, I wish there was a little bit more. Anyway,
Just a little bit.
but no, they're going through, and he's basically
A little bit more simulated sex. Could have really loved a little bit more simulated sex with Harley Quinn.
And then basically after they have sex, the guy's like, oh, my people wanted me to get married, and you seem like the perfect crazy person to do that with. But now
Yeah.
after a day with you, I'm in love with you. All that. She's like, oh, I love you too.
Yeah, and then all the rumors of the beast and sending
Yeah.
men, women, and children.
And let's not forget, we got the guy with the things coming out of his
Thinker,
head.
yeah.
The Thinker has given us some backstory about Starro, the Conqueror, and we've seen like some it's not flashbacks, it's footage.
Yeah,
right?
it's found footage from a U.S. space trip where they find him floating in space, capture him, start taking a bunch of pictures, and then immediately get starfished in the face.
Exactly. So we learn what it does. We learn all these things, and we learn what the government wants with it.
Yes.
Perfect. Got it. Good. Move forward. He gives a little bit more explanation of it and like his reason for it, and then bang, bang.
Yeah, she shoots him with some like old timey revolver, and then
believe
just
there were
gives him
bullets
this
in this.
long, drawn out speech.
It was so great.
While he's bleeding to death
Yep.
about, I just said that the next time I was gonna get a boyfriend that I'd be looking for red flags. And killing kids is a pretty big red flag.
She's so good, man. She's so great, and
She's got that fucking Bensonhurst accent down.
Down.
That's the only thing that I wish that Kaylee Cuoco did was the like New York accent.
Yeah, because
know?
it's just Kaylee Cuoco's voice.
Yeah.
It's everybody but Alan Tudyk's voice.
Yeah, but pretty much.
That's all it really is. But yeah, so then, just throughout Harley's arc through this thing, she's she's growing as a character, but she's also being the version that you want. You know what I mean?
This was the best Harley we've seen on live action.
Suicide Squad was all about the Joker, which I think for female story arcs, when you make it about the romance, it ruins it. This is why people like say, oh, females have less interesting arcs. They don't. But when they get pigeonholed into this, oh, I have to be in love with the man type
Yeah,
thing. I'm
and
breaking
I
away
would-
from it.
I would put that more on Paul Dini, who created her for the animated
Sure.
series, because that's literally all of her character.
But, like,
it
for
was
example-
the other people that took her and expanded her character, made
Right.
her a leader of the Suicide Squad, and
Yes.
did other things just with Harley Quinn. They were like, she's way more interesting than just being the foil for Joker.
Exactly.
You know? And I mean, like, even the Arkham games, that's all her character depth is being in love with Joker, so that when he dies at the end of Arkham City, and then you do that Harley Quinn's Revenge where you're playing Robin, like, all of her stuff is just supremely derivative of Joker, and it's just trying to get revenge because Joker died,
Yeah.
you know?
Which is why the Harley Quinn cartoon is beautiful, is it's all about breaking
her
that.
independence.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what Birds of Prey tried to do, but it was super fucking clumsy.
Because you added 3 other superhero characters, you have this like unexplored black mass.
Yeah, it was
threat.
easier to watch this time because the first time I watched it was through the lens of having just finished season 2 of Harley Quinn, where I was just watching it. I'm like, why didn't they just make the show the movie? Just do that. They know how good that show is.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know? And they just only kind of did that.
And like in Suicide Squad, her whole arc is with Joker, and then like you said, what's interesting is her becoming a leader of the Suicide Squad, working with these different people, all that. It really never was about that. It was always about this relationship with Joker, and then you get to the end with Enchantress, and all you can do is fight and hit people with a baseball bat, and it becomes, it's like you have this unbelievable actor playing this character.
God,
you have
and
this.
what a hilarious like cover up to make Suicide Squad PG-13 by making those people like ink rock people so that she could smash their heads.
Yeah.
You know, Deadshot can blow their heads up, and it's like, it's not gory.
Yeah, no, it just poof.
They're black. They got
they're
black
goo
blood.
people, yeah.
they got black blood. They're goo people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a goo man.
I'm a goo man. I'm a goo guy. But yeah, no, then in this, it really is about just like her side of this story, her side of this adventure. Like, it's not even like, it is about her growth and stuff like that, but it's more just like, what is Harley doing during this? And it's fun and it's great. And she's doing fun stuff, you know?
And it makes it that much better when, because like after B Team lands, they just go inbound, and then Steve Agee finds that Flag is still alive, so they go into that camp, infiltrate it, kill all the people. Then they realize they're
fun
the
stuff with Peacemaker and Bloodsport.
Yeah, I liked the blow dart. And okay, this is something that I noticed about this movie, and I think it's a trend that's been growing because I noticed it in Falcon and Winter Soldier and in the Miles Morales game. I think it started with the Miles Morales game, but it's equal opportunities ass kicking. A lot of women died, and it was also
one thing about that, I will say, it seemed like there was only one female soldier in any given platoon. Like there was just like one.
There were two
female.
in that camp scene.
Okay.
Yeah, there was the one woman who
Diversity.
was like, she was like washing some shit, and then that's who Bloodsport or not Peacemaker shoots with the first dart.
Yeah,
and then the other woman who was further away shoots with a dart too.
Right.
But like that was his whole thing. He's
I
like,
noticed that too, yeah.
I love peace so much, and I don't care how many men, women, or children have to die for me to get it.
He was so great. Yeah, and again, like, Peacemaker needed to be simple. He has to be very simple, straightforward.
Yeah.
And his character is what carries the love of him. You know what I
find
mean?
it so interesting that he was the one that jumped out to James Gunn as being like, I want to make a series about him.
I know, right?
You know?
I'm so fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by him too. You know, he
Yeah,
really.
well, he is probably the best anti-hero we've ever seen in a movie. Like
outside
Deadpool,
of- yeah.
Deadpool's too goofy. Venom, they softened him a little bit, but you know, definitely Peacemaker is like the definition of an anti-hero, where
Big
it's
time.
like, sure, what he's doing is fucked up, but he's doing it for the greater good. He's
Yeah.
doing it for peace.
He really believes he's doing.
I
the
mean,
right
yeah,
thing.
his ideology is a joke in and of itself.
Yeah, Deadpool couldn't care
He
less
doesn't
about
have
the
to,
right
yeah.
thing. Venom is like battling himself, and Peacemaker literally thinks what he's doing is right, even though he's murdering people left and right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we get to the end of that sequence, like you were about to say.
You find out that they're the Peace Corps or
Yeah,
whatever
they're
the
the
fuck, the
good
freedom
guys.
fighters, the freedom fighters. And so, yeah, why didn't my people alert me? We didn't see any people out here. No, we didn't. It's just dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that whole scene was a competition between Bloodsport and Peacemaker to see who could kill better.
Yep. Here, yeah, okay. So going back to the web of character connections and stuff like that, because even Rick Flag, once he gets involved with these guys, he's got this automatic connection with Bloodsport. He's got this
they served together. They were actually
Peacemaker.
friends before any of this.
He knows about Ratcatcher and King Shark and Polka Dot Man, so like he can at least interact with them. In Suicide Squad, I can't really tell you the significance of anybody's relationship other than Flag and Enchantress having romance. Deadshot and Harley have a lot of lines together, but it's just because they're in the same space.
And they're the biggest stars.
Yep. Killer Croc means nothing to anybody on the team. Diablo is just this guy that won't do anything.
Beautiful. Nah, shorty. I'm beautiful.
I mean, like, Diablo is this torture guy that, like, I mean, he's just so... It's just, none of it matters to anything. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't mean anything to anybody. This movie, every time a character interacted, it meant something.
And
even the weird stuff with Weasel at the beginning, like, had some level of meaning with the way they were
Is that
playing
a werewolf? I've always wanted to meet a werewolf. Werewolf.
But yeah, so then they get Rick, and then they go, and the plan is we're going to go to this nightclub where the Thinker
they're going to get the Thinker.
out.
And that was a pretty fun sequence.
Yeah, they get the disguises, and we have the little Ratcatcher sequence. They're on the bus and doing all the things. They get there, and they go, Peacemaker orders shots. Bloodsport's like, we're working. He's like, come on, let loose. And it wasn't even like a convincing. What I loved was it wasn't even convincing. They just started getting drunk. Like, after that point,
It was one of those things where it was, I'm just gonna have one drink. Like he literally says that, and then cut to he's downing another beer and all that.
Ratcatcher and Peacemaker on the dance floor.
Peacemaker
and
Polka Dot Man, dude.
Because
that was probably the funniest thing was when he revealed it. They're like, "Well, what happened to your mom? Where is she?" He goes, everywhere. And then it cuts to the team, and they're all versions of his mom. And then you just see like King Shark, like big fat version of his mom, just like reach for the butterfly.
Again, this is why I brought that up at the beginning. Suicide Squad, it would have been this whole cut sequence of his mom experimenting on him, and
with that fucking filter.
They would have tried to make his mom like some hot older actress and like made her a bigger deal and blah blah blah. No, make it a joke. Have fun with it.
And I like. He says that she was a scientist, and then you see who she looks like, and you're like, I don't see that as a scientist. that is like a kindergarten teacher. But she did experiments on his brothers and sisters. Some made it, some didn't.
And that's all we need to know about that guy. You know?
So he's on the dance floor, and he's getting grinded on by his mom, basically.
All over the place. And then he just like gets into it. He loves it. So they go on, and then when Harley kills the president, by the way, the army comes in, right? So they know that the Americans are there, whatever. So they're going in, they're searching for the people. And Bloodsport tells Ratcatcher too, he says, hey, get out of here, take Thinker, get out of here. We'll take care of this, right?
We'll find you in an hour.
Yep. And so they do the thing where we're the Americans, they get arrested. They get on the vehicle, and they're he's talking to him, and he brings up this one hit kill, right?
One blow to kill somebody.
Yep, and like the guy that he's talking to is like, it can happen, but it's not. And then all three, Rick, Peacemaker, and Bloodsport at once.
Kill them right away.
All three of them.
Get out of their shackles and everything. Well, one thing, the clothing change that they did so they could go into town undercover.
The disguise.
That was so fucking funny that John Cena, of course, picked the tightest polo and the shortest shorts.
Yep, of course.
But, he blows a hole through the
I just want to say to one of our great friends, great guest of the show, Carl Breidenbach, you are Peacemaker.
100%.
Yeah. It's a high compliment.
He shoots the hole, he blows the guy's half of his face off, and then I just love he grabs the other guy and just keeps slamming him into the ceiling.
Yeah, that was so great.
And he tries to reach the steering wheel, can't do it. They crash into a truck, they fall off the edge, and then bam, they find the bus.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It was like, how'd they know where to meet?
So the movie could happen.
That's right. And I really fucking loved that. That was great. And so they're all assembled. They get on the bus, and they basically tell Peter Capaldi, the Thinker, to get him into Jotunheim.
This is the plan. And we go back to Harley Quinn, who's chained up, getting electrocuted a whole bunch by the general.
Enjoying
it. Yeah, she's into it. She's singing. She's doing the thing. Then she gets knocked out. General's like, tell me when we wake her up, we'll cut her fingers off, yada, yada. Once he leaves, she uses her legs, puts him in a chokehold. That was Margot Robbie, did the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
She uses her legs, put the guy in the chokehold, takes him down, finds the key, brings it up with her feet, unlocks it with her feet, and then gets down.
I'm sure between these 3 movies and Tanya, she is probably an expert level gymnast at this point.
I mean,
because that's what Harley Quinn was before. She was a gymnast
Right.
before she became a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of her combat in whether it's the cartoon or these movies, that's the one thing they did really well, was made it very gymnastics related.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing it on display, like, her pulling herself up, grabbing the guy, breaking his neck with her legs, and then taking her toes, using that to unlock everything. It was like, yeah, she's so nimble.
Yeah, so nimble, so swift.
Yeah. And I loved that scene in particular because you get to see inside of what her perception of reality is,
Yes.
which is cartoony as fuck, flowers flying everywhere, the javelin lights up in a beacon. And
I think it was like the best Harley Quinn sequence ever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would
She comes in with
agree.
the pistols, pa 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 pa. She gets the the assault
two
rifles.
M16s. Yeah, she's doing that spin around thing like Boondock Saints, shooting everybody in that round corridor, and then gets
So many goosebumps.
And yeah, her casualness about it is so cool, because it was like, yeah, this is actually a hardened murderer right here.
Well, and
like she is very casual. She's like, oh, well, that's a new gun.
Yep. And she just goes, right?
Yep.
And gets out of there, all this stuff. Meanwhile, we forgot to mention, they find out that she's been taken
She's
captive,
been alive, from those guys.
which I loved. Rick was like, we got to go get her. And I was like, hell yeah.
Well, and that's why I love this sequence, was that it dismantled like she was a damsel in distress.
Yes.
Like she kills everybody, gets out of there, hops in a cab, and then she just sees them like sneaking across the street and everything. She's like, huh.
What do you know?
Hey, what are you guys doing?
I love.
We're here to save you. I mean, it was a really good plan. Well, I can just go back inside. You guys can save me.
And I love
That's patronizing.
to the point of the outfit change. Again, Bloodsport's climbing up in Birkenstocks.
Birkenstocks, slacks, and a tank top with the helmet. Rick Flag's got this shirt with like a bunny on it.
Yep. And it's just, it's perfect.
And I love fucking Peacemaker's up in the tower. He's like, I got sights on the only person in the office. It's that big titted secretary lady. He's like, ready to fire when
Ready to fire when necessary.
He's just gonna kill the shit out of this. Like, and I loved it too in that sequence where she comes running in and her tits are bouncing all over the place. And it was like, of course she's the secretary.
Yeah, I was like, James Gunn had a very specific cast list for that. He had a, like, I just can't imagine auditioning for that role. You come in, I'm sorry.
You have to wear a low cut blouse. Now bounce around a little bit.
Run for me a little bit.
Just bounce a little bit.
Do a little bit of this action.
Jog in place. Not quite. Next.
Why didn't you get the role? My boobs weren't big enough. They were bouncy.
They were perky, but not bouncy.
Not bouncy.
Not bouncy.
Hollywood's tough, man. Anyway, so they get her. Now the team's assembled, right? It's great. It's exciting. It's awesome. So they go up to the rooftop. They're going to go to Jotunheim. Also, just from Norse mythology and Marvel fanatic. Love the name Jotunheim. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Very happy about that.
When I saw, because I was looking at the trivia, and they said that the shooting at Jotunheim was the most difficult shooting because the weather was so fucking finicky.
Right.
But
well, I like how they use that, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They use some cool stuff with the rain. And
the
weather.
rain was so fucking cool.
Because if you've been to tropical places like that, it rains. You can't
all
see
the
in front of
fucking
you.
time.
Yeah.
All the yeah, so heavy that you can barely see 6 feet. Like even Florida, like it rains that hard.
For real?
You know, just randomly, daily almost. But I thought, because wasn't Jotunheim in Doom Patrol when they get shrunk? When Jane and Robot
maybe.
Man?
Yeah.
Or is that somewhere else? Because it's got another mythological name. Let me look it up.
I don't know. But yeah.
Because that's when I saw that they were going to Jotunheim, I'm like, oh, are they going to that, pocket dimensional thing from Doom Patrol? Let's see. It was like episode 3, I think. Episode 3.
Shrink?
No, episode 3 was when they go to the
Jack the Ripper guy.
No, that's the Nazi guy in South America.
Oh, you're talking season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought you meant... You're talking about when they shrink and they're tiny on the train set, right? That's season 2, episode 1, I believe.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me pull this up here real quick.
But yeah, and then just to shout out to that rooftop scene, with Harley.
And speaking of Doom Patrol, it's back in
It's
September.
back, baby!
I'm so fucking stoked. We're going to get the season finale of season 2 to start the season 3. And I think it's going to have 11 episodes.
Nice.
So,
Good. But yeah, I like that rooftop sequence, talking to the Thinker, laying out the rules. Harley's obviously saying, the license plates, things we saw in the trailer, but also good to see in context. You know what I mean? Always funny in context. Same with like King Shark in the theater where he goes, hand. It's like, okay, we've seen that in the trailer, but seeing it in the movie, very funny. Anyway, they lay out the rules, and then we're going.
I'm thinking of the Cult episode with the kid with all the tattoos on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
eyes.
Yeah, because, dude, that was so fucking wild. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 eyes open up in the sky, and then they just have a staring contest through eternity. Let's see the synopsis. Yeah, Cult Patrol. I love how every episode's called, something Patrol.
Let's get Crazy Jane and Ratcatcher 2 in a movie together.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Electric. And Harley Quinn. Why not?
Well, and I was talking to you a little bit about how the TV shows work. All of them are produced and created by Greg Berlanti. And he really, really seemed to make it a point to put Doom Patrol, Stargirl, and Titans in separate universes. Like they have cameo appearances in Crisis on Infinite Earths at the end of it when they rebuild the universe basically, but it's only like 4 different universes after Crisis. Okay, let's see.
While you look this up, can we pause so I can go pee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Put on shoes, just, in case the glass. Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass. Get on there. And we're back. So I found the place from Doom Patrol. It's called Nirnheim. That's why I got not confused. It was the Heim part.
All the Heims.
All the Heim.
All the Heims.
Yes. So unrelated. It wasn't Jotunheim. No. But yes, I did enjoy that it was called Jotunheim.
That was cool. Yeah.
So, and that rooftop sequence where they're talking about breaking into Jotunheim and they're, lecturing Thinker and everything about how if you do anything fucked up, we'll kill you. He's like, if you cough without covering your mouth, you'll die.
Now, that being said, this goes without saying, but that is not an invitation.
That is not an invitation.
For you not to cover your mouth when you're coughing. Like, that's what makes that movie funny. Like all the jokes that fail in Suicide Squad, like those, like that moment there is what makes the suicide really good.
I'm gonna need you to white people that shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
There's a new writer every time. So we let them. Yeah, but like,
sometimes Will Smith plays his roles with such a casual swagger that it's annoying.
Well, it's the thing. Here's my thing with Will Smith, and like this is not who he is as an actor by any means. He's knocked so many things out of the park, but like he's not playing Deadshot. He's playing Will Smith. Yeah. He's always Will Smith in these kinds of things. Yeah, and it's like.
Well, Aladdin, the genie was just Will Smith.
It's just Will Smith. And like there's
with
a lot of
his face
actors
slapped
that
onto
do
a bodybuilder.
This. Exactly. There's a lot of actors that do this, but like Ryan Reynolds is almost trying to get like meta with it and what he's doing.
It's like we were talking about Deadpool.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds isn't playing Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds turned Deadpool into Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly. And that's the thing with Will Smith. He's from the era that like, he's like the LeBron in a lot of ways. He's like from this generation where you could make 3-4 movies in a year just being yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The Rock
like
is kind of the new
Van Wilder, all that kind of shit. Yeah.
But anyway,
Just Friends, which I still think is one of the more underrated Ryan Reynolds comedies because he's so fucking funny in a fat suit. Dude.
He is, yeah.
So fucking funny in a fat suit.
But yeah, so then
that rooftop sequence though, where they're all talking and giving the rundown to the thinker of how this is gonna go, reminded me. Have you seen the trailer for the Suicide Squad game?
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
It's the exact same sequence.
Yep.
And I love it. And,
I'm excited for that game.
I am too. And it's made by Rocksteady and Eidos, who did the Arkham game, so it's gonna be probably up there. It's definitely gonna be better than the Avengers game. Ugh. I really want to play it to see how it is now.
I'll bring it over for you. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
You can have it forever. Don't give it back.
And I hope that Square Enix and Eidos learned their lesson and make Guardians of the Galaxy actually good.
I don't trust them.
I don't trust them either.
Not one bit.
And also the thing that sucks about that Guardians of the Galaxy game is that you only play as Star-Lord. You can't be anybody else.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of weak, right?
They are ready. That's a terrible start.
Yeah,
it's a horrible start.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm
no. Yeah, no, but that reminded me of that Suicide Squad game trailer, and I'm actually very excited for that. It feels tonally similar, except it does have Deadshot in the group too.
But he's an OG Suicide Squad member.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like bring Deadshot Will Smith into this. I think he'd be fine. I think he'd do great. I think he'd be, if James Gunn was writing for him and we're kind of, catching up with him, it'd be fine. Bloodsport killed it. Way better. But I'm not saying it's Will Smith's fault. But there's ways that this could have all been handled.
And the way they handled Bloodsport's weapons without even fucking just explaining it, because his thing is that, he doesn't have superpowers, but he has high-tech weapons that he can literally conjure anything that he wants, except they made it a part of his outfit, like the two pistols on his chest and everything.
Super cool.
Yeah, and then the big gun that he builds to shoot Starro with, he just takes all the attachments and sticks them on one thing, and then the thing starts spinning around. Super cool. Super goddamn cool.
Yep.
So, so they go to Jotunheim, and we follow Ratcatcher 2 and Rick Flag and Thinker, really. Once they start plating the explosives to blow the place up, Peacemaker. God damn it, Nanawe.
It's actually really nice. But
it's actually very nice.
Looks nothing like me.
Looks nothing like me.
So, mad and trying to...
God damn it, Nanawe.
All of that is earned by the connections and all the good stuff they built throughout it, those moments are made by that.
Yeah. But when they get there, that rain sequence, that's all you can see is a white wall of rain.
We'll walk out.
And it's like a bunch of angels are splooging all over me.
Oh, so much great stuff.
But then you get the King Shark ripping a guy in half lengthwise.
Of course,
Bloodsport was just capping fools.
Yeah.
Him and Peacemaker were just all over the place.
Yep.
Ladies getting shot in the face all over the place.
All sorts of good stuff. And then they get up, they find Starro with all the people.
All the people were in the cages, and they start talking to communicate to Thinker. It's like, hey, you've got to save me. It's been 30 years. He explained, and all that. And then you start seeing there's that dude who's cut in half who has Starro on him. That's still alive that way somehow.
Yeah.
The one dude who's got Starro ripped off his face, and it's just that was probably the nastiest little bit that I was just
brutal.
because then. Because I don't remember how the Justice League has ever defeated Starro, but I think the comics, and this is something that I explained to you and Jake after the movie, that it's something that always has not sat right with me about DC stuff, is that they make you sit in the collateral damage. These people, all the people who got starfished are dead.
Gone.
Dead. So there was the Justice League. I think it was Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, where it was this amorphous blobs alien thing that just kept absorbing people, and it opens with this cold open of these people hiking in it was Death Valley or something like that, and they get absorbed by the thing, and the sound that it made was super creepy, and I that was really what started it for me. That I'm oh, they don't fuck around in DC. They really make you sit. They make you get kind of attached to people and then watch them die, and they can't be brought back.
Nope.
Like Marvel is kind of like kid stuff where how they don't show the collateral damage, even though like hundreds of people died in the Battle of New York.
Oh, big time.
You know,
Oh,
So,
probably thousands.
yeah, you know, and then Sokovia, the entire country was destroyed, and you know, even when they tried to make you feel more grounded with you know, that woman being like Charles Spencer explaining her son and everything, and getting Tony attached to it, it still doesn't have that same level of impact. You know, even the footage where it's showing the buildings fall in Sokovia and all that, you don't have that same level of impact. DC really does not shy away from it.
No.
And
When they're at their best.
Yeah, and that's why people were upset with Man of Steel, but I'm like, this is DC business as usual. And so then Zack Snyder pivoted, and he's like, let's make it feel like 9/11 and Batman versus Superman. And then at the climax of Batman versus Superman, make Anderson Cooper and all these other people outright say that these places are deserted so they can just fuck shit up. Yeah, Jack. You know, they can fuck shit up without any sort of like people being like, wow, a lot of people died, didn't they? It's like, yes, they did. And you got to sit with that.
That's what this is. That's why these things mean something. These events mean something. Yeah.
And then
that's why you need superheroes.
Even in Justice League, either version of it, like they go to some burned down Russian smokestack, like power plant, and like a town that's empty. Even in the Justice League, the only people in that town is that family.
Yep. Which, what are they doing?
What are they doing? They're being Joss Whedon tools.
Oh, Joss. Oh, Joss. Anyway.
You know, and James Gunn, better director than Joss Whedon.
Yeah, by far.
You know, thank you, Joss Whedon, for recommending him for Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's got it from here.
Yeah, he's got to do just
You
fine.
can go ahead and be obscure now. Then they go into the Jotunheim, and then King Shark is like, wait, where's Peacemaker? Because he sees Flag and Ratcatcher 2 and Thinker get on an elevator. And clearly he's been given ulterior motives.
That's right.
They go down, they see Starro on all the faces, all the experimentation. Then Peter Capaldi, the Thinker, he explains that the only reason you're here is to destroy this place, to cover up America's involvement in this monstrosity.
Right.
You know, and he explains that, you know, Americans picked it up, yada, yada, yada. And then Rick Flag is pissed.
No, yeah, he doesn't. He's what do you say? I signed up to serve my country, not to be
a puppet.
Puppet, yeah.
Not to be a
classic
puppet,
line.
You know?
Yeah.
And so he goes and he gets the hard drive that has all the information about it, and then Peacemaker
One hard
shows up.
drive.
Yeah, one hard drive.
Everything.
Well, and also he goes and he punches the computer a few times to open it, and he's like, "Yep, that's it.
That's the one."
It's got everything. I didn't even have to have a monitor to tell me what I was looking up."
And then Peacemaker with that super long.
With all due
barrel.
respect, sir, I know you're a hero, but this will cause an international incident.
Yeah.
More people will
Amanda
die.
Waller told me not to let you leave with that.
Yeah. Not let this thing get out. And starts fighting Rick Flag, kicking his ass,
That's
really. But
Big time.
you know, all of a sudden the roof starts collapsing. The bombs went off too early.
Whoa.
Cut to 8 minutes earlier.
That's right. Well, before we cut to, remember it's they go. Starro gets Thinker, pulls him in, does the thing, yada yada. Then they get away, right?
No, that's after the 8 minutes later, after the flashback to the other team. Then it cuts to them after the explosion. Then Starro grabs the Thinker.
Oh, really? I thought it said 8 minutes later after Peacemaker had Ratcatcher under the gun. I thought that was like that was the moment that it was.
Oh
like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Because then it sticks with Ratcatcher too. She sees Thinker get dragged down into the thing, and then you see Starro in his giant, creepy, one-eyed glory.
Yep.
And he pulls him up with his little tentacles and then rips his left arms and legs off and then whips him into a window and he explodes. And then you see Peacemaker wake up. And that was actually a really cool sequence how they, James Gunn filmed the fight in the reflection of the helmet. You know?
That was really cool, yeah.
And Peacemaker really had the upper hand, as he would, because he's a fucking yoked out monster.
He gave him the beatdown.
Yeah.
Beatdown.
I didn't understand what the seed was for. Like, was that to feed Starro? Because he smashed Rick through a couple of those hoppers.
I figured it was either that or like the people. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
But he smashes them through a bunch of those. They but Rick Flag does get some real good hits in on him.
He takes on a supervillain. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And he beats the shit out of him, almost strangles him, but Peacemaker grabs a shard of
broken tile or whatever.
Broken tile, yeah, and then hammers it right into Rick Flag's heart. Peacemaker. What a fucking joke.
Wins.
Yeah, what a fatality.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Not flawless victory.
No.
He did lose some health bar on that.
He did. And then Ratcatcher
yeah.
sees.
Yeah, well, he kicks it into that next room.
Mm-hmm.
Ratcatcher crawls into the fucking thing following Sebastian while Starro's breaking out, like reaching after her, trying to grab her. Mm-hmm. And then she crawls back out, looks up, sees what Peacemaker has just done, and then sees the drive, grabs it, and then crawls away, and then Peacemaker's after her.
He's after her. How's he? He gets her into the place. I forget how. He just chases her, and then she's like on the ground.
And she's like, just destroy the drive. Why do you kill me? You don't have to kill me. He goes, I have to, because I'm thorough.
Yep. And then
Cut to 8 minutes earlier. And then it shows the rest of the squad, setting up the bombs, climbing the floors and everything. And then
why did they pick Ratcatcher to go with Rick Flag for that? I guess it doesn't really matter.
I think it was just because she's so good.
Yeah.
As a character. I mean, like, of all the characters, she's probably the only person who's not a murderer.
Yeah.
You
not
know,
like an actual villain.
She got arrested
she says,
for robbing a bank, and the rats were a lethal weapon, is what they said. And it was like, so that's why she got thrown in prison.
Which they proved to be pretty lethal.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's not an unfounded claim.
But also, it wasn't one of those things like the medieval torture where you strap a rat with a bucket and then start burning the end so it burrows into somebody's chest. It wasn't
does
that.
on special occasions.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, they're up there, they're putting the bombs in, and then they go, King Shark wanders off on his own. He does his thing, and he goes into a big aquarium, a beautiful aquarium.
And probably the funniest sequence, not because of what happened in the movie, but imagining Sylvester Stallone doing this in a booth where, new dumb friends. How was that, James? How was that, James? Do it again. Dumb friends. New dumb friends.
And yeah, just a bunch of little fishies
Yeah.
that take his shape, and
he starts playing around with them.
All good stuff.
And then there's the rest of it. Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, and Harley. And then Milton, the big fat dude who was from the Freedom Fighters, who just, that was the thing, was he stuck around, and then Bloodsport even asked, like, why the fuck was he here? What was he gonna do?
He was still here.
He was still here. Milton was still with us.
And I just, because he gets killed, and then Polka Dot Man's just like, he's like, yeah, I liked him the whole time. I just didn't want to say anything.
I liked him from the start. I didn't want to say anything. Who's Milton?
And then they go back, forth, all the things, and then boom.
Yeah, well, a bunch of more soldiers come around after they stalled all that time. And then Polka Dot Man unleashes the dots. Just burns the shit out of them, but they hit the C4, set all the explosives off.
That's right. So the building's going down.
Yep.
Those three are in big trouble. The aquarium explodes, releasing the fish.
Yeah, and a bunch of water onto their floor. And then the fish turn out to have a bunch of fucking razor sharp teeth, start biting under King Shark. I was very worried for him. I was actually like, oh man, are they going to kill King Shark right now? And because there was so much blood just pouring out of him while he was ripping those things off. And then the building starts falling. He falls out, hits the ground, but then those things all die because they don't have any water.
Right.
So he's alive. Then all the soldiers just start lighting him up, but he's bulletproof.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then immediately he just gets up and kills the shit out of the guy, bites his head off. Wonderful. And that was a very interesting James Gunn-esque. This is so James Gunn to have the guy's head in his mouth looking around like, oh, I fucked up, didn't I? And then the building starts collapsing. Harley, Polka Dot Man, and Bloodsport run and jump. They make it. Harley uses the javelin, saves herself. Polka Dot Man lands, and then Bloodsport lands on this like platform. Then that falls, and he shoots the grappling arrow. Really, I really loved his like little like wrist arrow thing that he was doing. That bow and arrow on his wrist. That was fucking.
It was like
cool.
a slingshot bow and arrow.
Yeah, that was really fucking cool. But he uses that, and then he falls, and then it starts to loosen. He's like, oh fuck it.
Yep.
Fuck.
And then
God damn it.
he basically
Falls,
surfs down.
Yeah, lands on his feet, and then the floors fall
He
underneath
does the cool
him.
version of fucking Aquaman.
Aquaman riding the parademon
Yeah.
down the building.
He does the much better version of that.
And he keeps falling floor by floor by floor by floor until he lands, looks and sees what Peacemaker's doing to Ratcatcher, and he's like, "Oh, it's on!
It's on.
I have permission,
Dun, dun.
basically, to kill this guy." Peacemaker shoots his fucking extremely long Desert Eagle. Like, that was excessive, especially when he put the silencer on it. I would think it was like 2.5 feet long.
Should have had 2 hands.
Yeah. And so he shoots his shot. Bloodsport shoots his shot. Smaller bullet blows through that bullet and hits him in the neck. He goes, ow, smaller bullets, which was an allusion to, or a reference to earlier in the movie where, when Peacemaker was trying to alpha dog him, he's like, yeah, I can shoot through your holes. And he goes, how does that happen? Oh, you smaller bullets.
Small bullets.
He used smaller bullets, and that's how he killed Peacemaker.
Got him. That's right.
And saves her, and then she says, this drive has all the information on it that implicates the Americans' involvement in Project Starfish. So he's like, all right, I'm going to pocket this. I'm going to do the right thing.
That's right. And yep.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, he killed Rick Flag because he wanted to get it out to people.
His
and,
buddy.
He's like, oh, that was my guy.
That was my homie.
That was my homie from back in the day, back in the Dizzy.
That's right.
And then Starro breaks out.
Boom. Kaiju.
Oh
shit, we got a kaiju.
Oh yeah, and not to mention the fact that when they get into the town, Amanda Waller in the control room were completely blind and deaf to everything, so they have no idea what was going on. So they don't even know the depth of what Peacemaker did or how he killed Rick Flag or anything. And then when Starro breaks out, he unleashes all the starfish on everybody, and Ratcatcher puts the mask on and tells everybody to cover their faces. Bloodsport's just
Shooting him.
How'd you like that the little starfish were like floating, like gliding, like they looked like seagulls.
Yeah, it was funny. I liked it.
And then they just
and they just they get everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really creeped out when it opened up the back.
Yeah.
Like, the face hugger is one thing where it looks like a vagina with a proboscis jumping out of it. But this one was like, that looked like teeth, like ready to just grab on and bite into somebody's head.
You see that guy's face?
Yeah.
You mentioned?
They pretty much did. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. And then also while this is happening, they're getting ready. They're like, okay, we're going to go do this. We're going to stop this thing. And Amanda Waller.
And there you have it.
That's a face hugger.
That's
Ridley Scott. And there you have it.
So Amanda Waller's like, "Oh no, don't do this. This is not your job. Get out of there."
Yeah,
okay?
you're done.
Yep.
If you destroyed the drives and blew up Jotunheim, you're good.
You're good.
This isn't our country. If anything, this is a good thing.
Yeah, and then she takes a putter right to the back of the head.
Oh, well, Bloodsport decides, you know what? Fuck, I can't do this. So he turns back. Ratcatcher's like, I know Sebastian sensed some good in you. And then all the team starts joining in, and she is mad.
Oh, yeah, she
is mad, calling them motherfuckers, just screaming at them. And then people in the office just domed her with her putter. And that was the thing that kept jumping out to me, was like, all these people really drew the line at kids getting killed.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, they didn't like
There
it.
are kids there.
Yeah.
We can't do that. And then
half of
the
what
blonde
I would
girl and Steve Agee hop on the things to start helping them track where Star was going. And
And we have fun times.
have
Fun kaiju fights. Yeah.
You get Bloodsport with his giant gun, like I said. And he becomes a leader. I mean,
right.
like, it was his Captain America after the circle shot.
Yep.
He became a leader, like Amanda Waller said. However, by doing that meant by straight up disrespecting and disobeying her orders.
Exactly.
So
Entirely.
they start fighting, and he's like, Harley, get the high ground, which she has some hops.
Oh,
she
yeah.
jumps very high.
Gymnast.
Yeah,
With a
then
javelin.
He's like in a Hulk smash. He goes, no way.
Nom nom.
Starfish is nom nom. Nom nom.
That is nom nom.
That is nom nom. And he goes and starts biting it, and then because who's left then?
It's
just those four, right?
And Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't tell Ratcatcher to do anything yet, does he?
I don't think so.
No, not yet. Because
and then he tells Polka Dot Man,
that's your fucking mom. That's your fucking mom.
And then Starro turns into a giant version of the mom for a while.
And
and
starts smashing into a building, and then he unleashes all the polka dots and eats through her fucking ankle in a rather gruesome display. And that's funny because you didn't even see Starro without that. But, it cuts to all the starfish civilians, and they're grabbing, they're like, ah!
Yeah. And then...
Because they feel the one consciousness.
Smash.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm a motherfucking superhero. And that's right when when he said that, I'm like, his goose is cooked. Smash. Splat.
Polka Dot Man is dead.
Yep. And then...
honorable.
Yeah, and then Bloodsport, he starts getting surrounded. They keep knocking and taking away his weapons, which, I mean, dude, he was really just shooting these people with no prejudice. He's like, they're dead anyway.
No
Fuck
problem.
it, lady, man, whatever. People on vacation, kill them all.
Have to survive.
Fucking kills all of them. And then he starts getting swarmed, and then he sees Ratcatcher getting swarmed. He breaks out, goes and saves her. And then the Starro yelling through this old woman, this city is mine, and then she goes, it's not your city, it's theirs. And they calls all the rats.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the rats start swarming everything.
Imagine if this was in New York.
Oh my God,
Imagine if she was in the Battle of New York.
You'd see like just 8 or 9 rat kings just
right.
swarming all over, just like eight rats tied together with their tails and everything. And then so Starro's like, what the fuck? I can't handle this. All these rats are climbing up him, distracting him. And then Harley. Cut to Harley climbing up on the roof.
Why did he javelin the javelin thrower, whatever his name was?
Yeah.
He had a purpose.
Yeah,
and then he died before he could tell her.
You're the only one who's worthy to carry my javelin. Use it for...
He died before he could tell me what a javelin
That's so frustrating.
And then she knows.
Yeah.
So she runs, she goes.
I know who the javelin is for.
And she dives through the eye. Pretty gross. Pretty gross stuff.
Which was real gross. Yeah, she cuts through, then all the rats start getting in and chewing them up. Then you see from the outside, after all the rats swarm everything, like the eye is just filling up with blood and everything. And then Starro does a thing that made me hate him more. Where he goes, I was happy, floating, watching among the stars. And it's like, fuck you, dude. You killed all these people.
You said this is Zero Island. You said they were going to take
it
this.
sucks that you were experimented on, but you still killed a lot of people. Like, there's no way anybody's just going to send you back to space.
James Gunn loves Starro.
I know.
Yeah.
And,
loves him.
this was just the perfect way to do him, because if you go with making the Justice League fight him after fighting Steppenwolf and setting up Darkseid, it's just like, going backwards at that point.
That's right.
Like having Starro be the first thing they fight, it'd be quirky, it'd be fun, but it'd be, it'd be like a good jumping on point for the Justice League, so they can escalate the villains from there.
You would think.
But he went like, okay, let's go Darkseid. What's a little bit below Darkseid? Steppenwolf.
Who was that? Oh, well, he's a henchman. But we're gonna make him the main bad guy.
Yeah. Outrageous. like basically choosing Steppenwolf as the main antagonist for Justice League was like if they took the two-thumbed red teeth guy from Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, I can't remember that guy's name, and made him the main villain of Avengers. He's like, who? Why do we give a fuck? Like, Loki was set up perfect. He had a whole movie to be a villain, and then to be a villain again.
Yeah, lots villainy.
So
yeah,
neither here nor there.
And then everybody's okay by the end of that. We got our 4. We got Ratcatcher 2. We got King Shark. We got Harley Quinn, and we got Bloodshot. Okay,
yeah.
And they're Bloodsport, and they are good.
Yep. And he calls Waller, who's using an ice pack on her head, and says, I've uploaded this drive to a secure drive. If you got to let us all go. You got to let my daughter go. And otherwise we're good. And, Ratcatcher's looking at him like a little disappointed, but he's like, you can't win everything,
That's right.
I know what Flag wanted to do. He was my friend and everything, but you can't win everything.
Can't do it.
So we got our freedom at least. And that was great. And then it was great that Waller actually felt defeated.
Yeah.
Because in Suicide Squad, she still came out on top.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm going to blow up all your guys' head. And Harley's like, we just saved the fucking planet. And she's like, well, you guys are all going back to prison, though.
Yeah. It's like, wow. B.E.T.
B.E.T. And she wanted an espresso maker, and Deadshot wanted all this stuff for his daughter, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, visitation of his daughter. Yeah. And that was such a dumb fucking sequence because he's teaching her about geometry and the hypotenuse. And then she goes, so if you shoot a guy off a rooftop, that would be the hypotenuse? And he goes, well, you got to bring in all the variables, like bullet spin, bullet drop, curvature of the earth, all this shit. I'm like, you're a bad dad. You're a very bad dad. Her mom might suck, but you're teaching her math through murder.
Yeah. This is a bad lesson.
Murder
here,
examples for math, bad dad.
Yeah. And bad joke in movie.
Yeah. That movie, it's just such a damn disappointment. And this excelled on every level, I felt, except for the pacing, like we talked about. But that was because, it was just weird in the flashbacks. And I'm watching it on, HBO, not in IMAX. It made the pacing seem a little bit better, especially also because you knew what was going to happen. So it was sort of like you're not playing catch up in your mind.
Sure.
So you just kind of were going with it. And it was a quicker 2 hours the second time around than the first time around.
Sure.
Because it did feel pretty long.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed every second of it.
Of course. Yeah.
And
I feel like that was pretty much the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. They get on the plane and Sebastian sits on his lap and he overcomes his fear and starts petting the rat, even though he's like petrified. Like,
yeah. He's not happy, but he's doing it.
Yeah.
And then we get to the post-credit scene.
Weasel's still alive.
Yeah, Weasel is back with his gross-ass feet. His feet and his belly were
his
the worst.
belly was what bothers me. And then the bulging eyeballs was creepy, too. When he gets up, starts running.
I mean, they really did make him as gross as they could. But he's perfect. He's on an island alone.
Yeah. Well, he's on an island ready to go eat more children.
Yeah, it's an island with apparently a lot of children. Yeah. So, yikes. But
yikes.
then also, alive.
Post credit.
Peacemaker? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I knew he had a show.
Huh, that's right. They were going to go make a Peacemaker show.
Yeah,
but
so
I'm happy that because Steve Agee was like, this is revenge, right? For, she knows we double crossed her and helped the Suicide Squad. And she's like, yeah, I know. But to stick us with this asshole? And then the lady goes, I heard he was kind of a hero in Corto Maltese. She goes, you weren't at fucking Corto Maltese.
And then what do you need him for? Save the fucking world.
I don't know. Save the fucking world, I guess. The glibness in that woman was great.
Yeah, that was perfect.
So, yep, and that's the Suicide Squad.
The
definitive Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Sorry, David Ayers, you lost. Even in a game that you ended up not really even wanting to play.
Also, dude, I can't get over it because it's also in the credits for Batman vs. Superman, but when the credits started running for Suicide Squad, the first one, executive producer Steven Mnuchin.
Of course.
And he became the fucking Treasury Secretary for Trump, dude. Him and Betsy DeVos and Ben Carson were just like the three who did their jobs excellently and didn't get fired.
Yep.
3 of 11 cabinet members. And he's just running through the other 8. And it was like, are you going to fucking listen to me or not? But seeing that and then just being like, this guy was a White House cabinet member when all he really was just a rich guy who threw his money into movies as investments, so he could get an ROI. He didn't care how good the movie was.
Need people like that.
He also executive produced Lego Movie, Lego Batman, all this like Warner Brothers shit. He was a Warner executive. And it's just boggling to me. Boggling to me that this guy's name is all over these fucking DC movies. I did see in the credits for The Suicide Squad that Zack and Deborah Snyder executive produced it.
Nice.
So they still have
their fingers in the pot.
A little bit of fingers in the pot. So that was cool. And they were like, yeah, we fully support James Gunn and what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Go for it.
1,000%.
Go for it.
Go for it. Go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did a great job.
Yeah.
Great jobs. Great. I'm expecting much better things coming forward. I'm
I'll give it a
expecting
10 out of
Aquaman
10.
2 to be an Oscar contender.
That's right. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 to encourage Warner Bros. To continue down
Keep
this
doing
path.
this.
Yes.
Keep
This
doing
is
this.
good. You can actually maybe fix this if you keep doing this. If you keep doing what you were doing, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
It will.
Yep. I would agree with you. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Let's give it to him.
It was a great one.
Nice.
Great. So in that case,
I gotta go.
that does it for DMT Reviews. Like, rate, subscribe. Check out DMT Studios on YouTube. We got stuff coming on there. Follow us, DMTPcast, email dmtpcast@gmail.com. We got an email from Jacob Hayda.
Oh.
So, upcoming this week is going to be What If, of course. So we're going to be back on the Marvel train, then Shang-Chi, and then, but once that's done, we'll start digging into some of the recommendations that we got.
Right.
And I'm Sammy B _DNT on all platforms. He's Silverback Sasquatch 1162.
That's right.
Otherwise,
Check out bestworstcantina.com.
yeah, bestworstcantina.com. Ian Solo and Vic Lotto Este, Locomotive.
That's great stuff going on.
Lots
in
of great
Denver.
stuff.
That's right.
Otherwise, take it sleazy, there, like cheesy. Love you guys.